I'm Bridget Peterson. I am a naturalist guide here with Canyonlands Field Institute.
My name's Amir Najam.
I'm Karina Kaus. I go by Corey though.
So my name is Kevin Niehaus.
I think first and foremost, I'm a guide, and that means that I am sharing something with anyone who's interested. I think people seek guides to learn about their world, and I'm happy to share what I know and learn from others that are around me. And I think I came to CFI mostly because I think the rivers are an underrepresented outdoor activity. Even though I know they're growing and growing every single year, but it's still underrepresented in terms of youth engagement and ultimately stewardship.
Even if it's not the river, if they do like a side hike and they're stoked about it, if that inspires them to keep on pursuing that as an activity they do on their own or with others or even as a career, that's kind of something I'm hoping to pass on. I always work with Park Service, and so our big mission there is we always talk about getting people to enjoy a place so that they can learn to care about it, and then that caring for that place kind of inspires stewardship.
Most of our trips, we're trying to connect people to this place. Why we do this trip is to connect them to that greater sense of others and that community that this can offer and create. We really kind of believe in that, kind of creating a next generation of guides that are not just out there for the sake of recreation. They're out there for the respect, for the love, and for what places like this have offered in the past and can offer in the future and can offer now.
Sharing the love that you find with the river with other people and showing them why you come back every time and teaching them the little jewels that you find in it and showing them all of the stuff that you can fall in love with. And I think that really being the next generation is continue to love the thing you do and then pass it on to someone else and keep it going so it doesn't die out and so that other people can learn to love it like you do.
I mean, I would say that, like, for my background, I was incredibly lucky that for kind of a first generation American Indian, like Asian Indian, just to clarify, in these parts it has to be said, that I had a really good exposure. My parents were definitely into the national parks. They were somehow surprised when I decided to become a park ranger, but they were always dragging us to some public land every summer. So they knew that I knew that I was in love with the outdoors. I mean, I spent probably kind of my 10 to 15s scrambling around in Yosemite. Like, my earliest memories are swimming in rivers in Yosemite, climbing, out there, scrambling on these boulders. I didn't even know climbing was a sport until, my 5th or 6th time there. Someone had a telescope up and they were like, look at these people climbing El Capitan. And I thought it was, mind-boggling. That people were doing something like that. That was my exposure. And this is kind of one of my messages to a lot of kids that I work with is, at a certain point, like, you just have a complete autonomy over your life, and you can decide which direction to go in.
I think what I want to pass on to women in this industry the most is that they don't have to put on a character to be part of this experience. They don't have to change themselves or change how other people see them to be part of this. Especially in the river guiding culture, there's kind of this image that women have to be tough, they have to be one of the guys in order to be part of this, but that's absolutely not true. And that's what I kind of was feeling coming into it. I was a little apprehensive about that. But working with this program, I've learned, at least with our company, that that's not the case. Like, you can 100% be yourself.
I think the goal is to kind of put the trip in their hands. I think a lot of times when kids come on trips like this and other trips we do, it's very much the liberty of just like, I'm just a passenger and you guys you do this whole thing, right? Like, you know how to do the boats, you know the kitchen, because I don't know that stuff. I definitely don't. And that's how they think they feel. And doing a trip like this, the thing we're trying to bring forth, whether or not they knew that coming into or not, is saying, no, yeah, we can do this, but the idea is that you guys are doing this. So yeah, you're gonna help us set up this kitchen. Yes, you're gonna have to put up the groover. Yeah, you're actually gonna row rapids. We're trying to kind of instill that and give that power to them right off the get-go. Because unless they do this privately with their own families, I don't think they get that outlet. And then the further you get removed from having that opportunity, the less it feels like you can do something like this. So really the idea of this trip, even though it's just kind of can be simple water sometimes, and the rapids we do have are fun, but idea of it is it's supposed to be kind of a safe zone for them to test those skills, see what happens with the different strokes, see if they actually can, and make those mistakes, and also make those triumphs. And hopefully they can walk away saying, hey, I rode 2 rapids on this trip. Or I was able to row this, or I was able to do that, or hey, I hit it with the throw bag. All of these little soft skills that hopefully they can really cherish the fact that they actually got to try out in an environment before later in life they were just expected to know.
It's interesting to I think the guide's role is to find what people are interested in, and then to give them more resources, engage them more in that particular resource that they're actually interested in. You never really know until you get someone climbing if they're going to be a climber, or if they like it at that particular point in their life. With the rivers, we have a variety of watercraft for people to try out different things. Not everyone likes being in duckies, not everyone likes rowing, not everyone likes paddling. So it's kind of cool just to see where you fall in line with things, because the sport of riverways is so dynamic. You can put yourself in a whole gamut of different areas of the sport. So I think it's cool. If you like paddling but you don't like being on the guide stick, well, you can be on a paddle crew. So it's cool that everyone gets a chance to kind of rotate and explore all the different ways of getting down a river. And there's so many more, so it's kind of if you just kind of pique their interest.
And I think that everyone who comes on the river walks away feeling like a new person. They're very empowered, they're very excited by what they've seen and what they've done. And everyone has their own reasons. Some it's the rapids, some it's the water, some it's the things on the side of the banks. But everyone, for some reason or another, wants to come down here and they just walk away feeling refreshed, feeling empowered. For as dirty and tired as they may be, it's definitely a mental reset and boost and bolster. And that's something you really only can get from a river system, no matter how tame or crazy it is.
In my time working in the outdoor industry, I would say that engagement is the number one way to get someone to care about something. So taking young people and old people alike kind of out on the rivers is the number one way to save the rivers, and ultimately that's what we need far more of.